Hi everyone and welcome here to my channel. My name is Fabiana and every week I have new tutorials on circular knitting machines for you guys. And in today's video I'm gonna be making this patchwork oversized cardigan. It is made the same way that you use to make blankets, but with panels instead of tubes, okay? You can actually use tubes as well if you don't know panels really well. You can use tubes for this, but the size is gonna be always the same. So I'm making a medium today that you can make using tubes as well. But if you want larger sizes, the best is to use the panels. Now for this cardigan, I'm going to be making the ribbings, all the ribbings in crochet. So if you know crochet, this is the crochet ribbing I'll be making. But during this video and at the end of this video, there's another link where I make all the ribbings using knitting, circular knitting needles. So if you know how to knit by hand, you can follow that next tutorial after this one. For this video today, I'm going to be using these 3 colors plus this one that's already over. On this one, because I made all the ribbons using this color here, I used 2 balls of yarn of 200 grams, and for all the rest I use only one, so 500 grams of yarn if you are making a medium size. I also made the pattern, and on the pattern I explain all sizing from extra small all the way to double XL for you to make if you don't want to calculate anything, okay? Now, 15 days ago, I just released my second book. I have these 2 books here. If you guys are interested in making garments on your circular knitting machines, this book here, it's only for adults. It's 16 garments and accessories for adults. And these ones I just released only for kids. It's all explained. There's cardigans, raglan, sweaters and everything for kids, calculated all the way from baby size to 8 years old kids. So if you're into garment construction for kids, this is a great book to have. It's available down in the description below. Now guys, so to calculate this pattern here, what I would like you to do, what's the best thing to do, is just measure one of your cardigans that you like the size, measure the length and measure the width. Measure the width and measure the length. And then after that, what you're gonna do, you're gonna get the gauge, which is 20 rows by 14 stitches. You're gonna get that gauge and you're gonna divide the number of centimeters by 4 squares to see how many rows you need for each square, and I'm gonna write on this next slide here to explain. And then for the width, what you're gonna do, you're gonna divide by the number of panels that we have on the back. I'm going to put all the calculations here in this next slideshow for you guys to follow. For this pattern, you can be using an Addi knitting machine, or you can be using a Sentro 48 knitting machines. They are both of these knitting machines, they work well with this weight of yarn, which is a weight 4 or a run or worsted weight yarn. So let's get started with this pattern. I made this pattern super easy. There is no increasing, no decreasing, no nothing. And the neck cut will be formed by a 5th panel that I'm going to be using in the middle. So that's where I'm going to get this cut here. As you can see, it looks like a V-cut, but without the shaping of a V-cut, for you guys to have a very easy to follow pattern. So let's get started, guys. Now that you calculated already the size of each panel that you have to make, or you purchase the pattern and you're going through the pattern, let's cast on for one of the longer panels with some waste yarn, okay? And so I'm going to cast on 20 stitches for my size medium. And this is the way you work with an even number of stitches. You just after the last row, because you have to go through the back of it, you put the yarn down on the bottom of this little piece here, and then inside the yarn guide. And what's gonna do is gonna make a loop around this first needle here, allowing you to actually use this even number of stitches. And just go all the way to the other end. We're going to be making 4 rows with this waste yarn. Pull this a little and also pull this a little with your finger. I always say that because it's an important trick for making panels. And also always make sure every time you reach an edge, the other yarns down on the bottom. That allows us to make the next stitch. And after I finish my 4th row, I'm gonna make my way back, put this yarn inside. I'm going to start with this color here, according to the drawing that I made before. You can make a drawing like this, or you can make a drawing on your tablet as well and just put the colors here and also put the colors here. If you want to color it with pencils or something like that, you can do that too. But it's always good to have a guide for this work. So I'm going to be leaving here a long tail so I can seam with the mattress stitch after when I need. And then I'm going to turn my counter back on, reset to 0. Make sure this reader is really close to this magnet, otherwise you won't read. And I actually purchased a few extra magnets so I can use this digital counter in all my machines, which is great. And I'll be making 30 rows for this each color, and a total of 240 rows for this size medium. So you can calculate for your size, or you can purchase the pattern, which is all calculated all the way from extra small to double XL. Okay, so pull the yarn a little on the beginning and then make the row. Make sure you also... See, my machine is really noisy. And also make sure you clamp your machine to the table. I'm going to do this now while I'm working, because I already, I'm going straight to the end of the panel, just to quickly show you how to cast this off. And then I'm gonna show you how to put this super simple blanket style cardigan, super easy to make. I'm gonna show you all the steps after this, okay? So if you already know how to make a panel and you just wanna go to the next chapter, do that. And so I'm going to finish this and then I'll come back with you guys. Now, after you made all these rows, this is how long it is. You can, if you want a longer cardigan than this one, you can add 1 extra square on each side, and then you're gonna have a longer cardigan. So make a full row with all the yarn. And then let's remove all the stitches with the waste yarn and the tapestry needle. That's how I removed every single one of the panels the same way. And also the sleeves, I removed the sleeves the same way, and I started the sleeves the same way as well. So now finish this, I'm going to put them all side by side and show you how to put them all together. And as well, before you, after you made all these 4 panels, as you can see there's 2 and 2, these are gonna go all the way from the front to the back of the cardigan. But on the back there's an extra one here in the middle that's gonna have only half of the row. So if you made 240, this one's gonna have 120 rows. And it's gonna be only on the back, and it's gonna serve as a space for the neck here. So the stitches we will leave them open until we make the ribbing rows around the collar part here, okay? So you can go ahead and make all this on the color combination that you chose. There's a lot of options you can choose to make this in gradients or blacks, grays, whatever you prefer. And then make this shorter one, and then I'll come back with you. The next step is gonna be just put them all together with the mattress stitch. Guys, here are all the pieces. I put them on top of my bed, right on top of another cardigan that I made before, and that's the cardigan. I'm going to leave the link down in the description below, because this cardigan has a knitting ribbing. So if you wanna knit the ribbing of this one, I'll be making in crochet. If you wanna knit, the link's gonna be down in the description below, and it's gonna be also at the end of this video, okay? So you can choose if you wanna knit the ribbing or if you want to crochet. This is the crochet ribbing I'll be making. It's a ribbing that I use a lot. I made already for one of the sleeves, and I'm gonna be showing you on the next sleeve on how to make it. But now let's seam all these panels together. I forgot to say, but I left tails on both sides. They're very long, as you can see. They're around 1 meter and something long, so you can seam all the way to the other side. And then to start here, I'm going to put, because I'm on this side, I'm going to go straight to the other side. And I'm going to choose a stitch. I like to choose always the second stitch, only because on this first one it's a little hard to spot where this part of the stitch is. So I'm going to go through 2 of them, and then 2 of them on the opposite side as well, which is here and here. Make sure you go on the very first row. Otherwise, when you get here in the where the colors change, it's gonna be mismatching, okay? And then 2 over here. Always making sure, and this is right to know, this is easy to spot where the next, where you're making the stitches, only because you can't really see in this first row where to seam, so it's on the very next one. And then right here. Okay, just seam it all the way to the other side, and then repeat the same with the other 2 panels that go along the side. I like to grab this way. It makes it easier to see the stitches. You don't need to pull all the way on the beginning, because then you can easily spot where the last stitch was, and then pull after a few stitches, like I'm doing here now. You can pull it after. It's gonna be tight. Just make sure this part of the knitting stretches as much as the other one. So when you finish the whole way on the other side, make sure you pull a little, just so this part here stretches the same way this part will do, okay? Now here I went through most of the panels already. I just wanted to show you if it happens that the squares don't match when you're getting here to the changing of the colors. What you can do is go through 2 bars there. As you can see, there's a mismatch here. Go through 2 bars there, and then go through only 1 bar here, and that way catch up with the number of rows. And if you need more, you can, just go through 2 and then 2 and then 1 again if you need more here, but mine's already perfect here. So when I get there to the color change spot, I'm going to be at the same place on both sides. And this way I matched both squares perfectly, like this. So I'm going to keep joining. I also did join the sides here, and for the sides what I normally do is I just place it's the same stitching here, same metric stitch. All I do is just place the sleeve here and see how much space I need for the sleeves. I just leave them stretched just like this, and then I catch up the same way I did here. I catch up here if I need to at the end, okay? So it's gonna be at the underarm anyway, so it won't be visible when you finish the project anyway. And then after seam, that's what it looks like. It's pretty, isn't it? Like the colors. And I like how many options this cardigan has as well of colors. You can choose any gradient you like. And so here for these back stitches here, because I'm going to run through a full row of double crochets after for the ribbing, I'm going to already make a knot here, and I'm going to bind off these stitches first, so they are already bound off when I go through with them to make the ribbing, okay? So I'm going to go through this first stitch here and then the second one as well, only because this first stitch is almost on the back with the seaming because of the metric stitch. I'm going to bind them off together and then keep binding off one by one, not too tight, not too loose. What makes the stitch more tight or more loose is this one loop here. So if the loop's more open like that, it's gonna make a wider stitch or a stitch that's longer. And if it's too tight, it's gonna be making a much tighter stitch. So be aware of that. And then you can remove this waste yarn as well after this, just to leave them ready for the ribbing work. And then here again I'm going to be making these two stitches together, these two loops here. And just doing like this. And just cut the yarn and hide. Finish this here. This is we're gonna make it even when we pass through. When we pass through making the ribbing, okay. Then just make an extra knot here on the back. You can hide the tail this way as well with the crochet hook. Just go a few stitches down this way and then up the other way, and then you can cut this tail as well. Now before the ribbing, before we make the ribbing, try to hide all these tails so it's all the work's more clean. And now you can also remove this here. Now flip your cardigan over to the bottom, and we're gonna start making the bottom ribbing first. And to do that, all you're gonna do is just really repeat the same thing we did on the neck stitches. We're just going to bind them off. So attach a yarn here. Working on the right side, so we're gonna go this way, and we're not working on the round. We are going to work and turn the work once we get here. So pull the yarn the other way to make a loop, then go through the next stitch and start binding them off this way. So I'm going to bind off all the stitches around here, and I'm going to be making the two loops together exactly the same way we did on the top stitches. I'm going to show you in a second. Only because when you meter stitch two panels together, the stitches that curl inside, they don't really show in the front of the project. I'm gonna show you in a second. And then they actually have to be hidden, otherwise it looks like, it doesn't look really nice, the finishing. So see, there's a stitch here, there's a loop here. I'm going to be making this one and this one together this way. And then do the same thing here on the other side. I'm just trying to see which one is the color that I have to work with. I think it's this one and then this one. So make them two together as well, this way. See how important it is to work on a contrasting color, so you can see which one it is. Like for me right now, it's really hard to see which color I'm getting, if it's the white or the cream color. So I'm going to keep doing this all the way to here, and then I'll come back to make the next row with you guys. Now this is how the first row looks like. And because I want to work always on the right side of the work, I just cut the yarn there. On the last loop here, made a knot, and then I'm going to start here on the other side again. And this is only for the first row, not the second one, only because I like this first row to look a little better. So I'm making a slip knot, pulling the yarn through this first stitch, and then I'm going to chain two. And then here for this ribbing here, what I want to do is decrease a few stitches every 6 or 7 stitches. So what you do is you make 6 and you count the 2 beginning chains. So 2, 4, 5, 6. And then when you get to 7 stitches, what you do is you grab the first one, grab the second one, pull it through, and then make the stitch. This way you're gonna be making 2 stitches together, and then count more 6 or 7 stitches. So 2, 4, 6, and then 7 I made together, and then 6 more stitches here. And repeat this pattern throughout the bottom here to decrease the stitches and make a smaller looking ribbing. And then I'll be repeating this row here all the way to the other end again, and then I'm gonna show you how the third row is gonna look like. Now this was our first row, and that's how our ribbing is gonna look like. And so to make the next row now, I'm not gonna cut the yarn, I'm only gonna chain 2 and turn the work. I'm working on a multiple of 4 stitches. You should have a multiple of 4. I have 140 stitches here right now. If you don't have, if you get here to the end, start counting here to at the very end, and just avoid making 2 together a few times in order to have a multiple of 4, okay? Just so decrease less really. And after I chain 2, I'm going to double crochet 2 extra stitches, because I'm going to have 3 in between each one of these back and front pole stitches. And now I'm going to be making a front pole stitch, which is just like this. Put the hook through, pull the yarn, and then make the stitch. And then go to the very next stitch and work another 3 double crochets. I use this type of ribbing a lot, I like it, but you can use the normal ribbing as well. And if what you like to do is knit the ribbing, this is a knitted ribbing that I have in another tutorial. I'm going to be linking this tutorial down in the description below. As you can see, it's all ribbing. So if you like to knit, just go and watch this tutorial, because that's where I knit the ribbing. Now, if you like to crochet, that's what I'm doing on this one. So this is here, and that's how it's looking like now. I'm gonna make my way there, and then on the way back I'll show you again, because we're gonna then make a front paw. This one, because working on the rounds, only front paw stitches. And then on the very next row, you're gonna repeat this stitch right on top of the other stitch. So if it was here, that's where you're gonna make, but front paw this time. So you're gonna pass through the back, coming out on the front, pulling the stitch, and then making it. And this way they're all gonna be right on top of each other and form that beautiful work that looks like a ribbing. Now, because I'm happy with the length the whole thing, the whole cardigan has, I'm going to stop working the bottom ribbing, and I'm gonna go straight to the side ribbing with the first row, making one chain, was already there, 2 chains. And then here, throughout these rows here, I work one in the middle of the stitch and one in the middle of the row, right there. One in the middle of the stitch, then one in the middle of the row. Now, when you go through the knitting rows, that changes a bit, because you can't really make one stitch to every row, otherwise you're gonna have too many stitches. So what I do is I go through always this same stitch here. I choose a stitch to work, and then I work 2 stitches, one in each one of the rows, and then I skip the next row. This is only because the size of the crochet stitches, it is a little bigger, so you need to go through less rows for that, in order for them to have the same length here. So I'm going to just do that the whole way, always skipping one, so 2 stitches every 3 rows. And then when I'm on the other side, I'm just going to repeat this row here with the same number of double crochets in between. I'm going to be making 3 or 4, but I'll have to come back with you only to show how to calculate and how to place the bottom holes on one of the sides here, okay? And then here, when you get to this corner here from the front side to the back side, what I normally like to do is I go through a few stitches and then I make them together in order to just make it more round. So I make one right here in this middle part here, 2, and then 3 in this very next stitch here. So and then make the 3 together, and that way you're gonna have a round collar. And then just keep making after this, just keep making the normal stitches here around the back. I'm going to have 1 stitch to each one of the stitches I had before. And then repeat the same thing, starting from this last stitch here, make 1, 2, and 3 together as well on the other side. And then once you have the first row made, make sure you spread the bottoms up evenly apart like this, and then just place markers where they want to go, so you know where you have to make the bottom case. I'm making on the left side, but you can choose and make wherever you think's better. For larger sizes, I recommend using 5 of them probably. Now, when I reach the markers, I'm going to make a space for the bottom holes. And so I'm going to change to turn the work, and then I'm going to work again 2 extra double crochets. And then I'm making here my back post double crochet and another 3. So I'm gonna be following this pattern, even though here right now where I have the marker, I'm making 1 chain, and that's gonna be the last of the double crochets that I have in between the front, the back paw, okay? So now I'm going to skip 1 to make the case bigger, and then I'm going to back paw again, and then I'm going to make 3 stitches. So I'm gonna keep really follow the same pattern and the number of stitches, but when you reach the markers, you're gonna make a chain and skip 1 here to make the hole. That's gonna be enough for the bottom. You can't really have bigger bottom case, because otherwise if they are too big, the jacket or the sweater you are making, it's gonna keep opening. So this is why they have to be tight. So I'm going to keep repeating this pattern, and then every time I reach one of the markers, I'll be repeating that work. I'm gonna make 1 more for you guys to have a look. So 1, 2, 3. Now front post, 1 more double crochet, and then chain 1 and skip that 1 where the marker is down underneath. Make 1 more. Now I have 1, 2, 3, and then the front post. This because the next row is just gonna be a normal row. Normally we use bottom cases right in the middle of the ribbing, not on the edge of the ribbing, and that's why I'm making it here. And then I'm going to keep following this pattern all the way, and then on the other side I'm going to seam the bottoms later at the same place, so you don't need bottom cases on this side here, okay? So keep repeating that, and then I'll come back with you. I'll be making the 3rd row already. I'll come back with you just to quickly show you how to decrease for the cuff of the sleeve, and then how to attach the sleeve after this. Now this is how our ribbing looks like after it's finished. And then I added an extra row of only single crochets here, so it's 1 single crochet to each one of the stitches, only because sometimes this curls a little bit, so it stops the curling. And now just place the bottom exactly where the hole is. The hole is right there, so place right in the same spot. And then on the back of it, choose a color of your preference to make this. And make a little knot on the back. And then go for both holes. You need a metal tapestry needle for this, only because the holes are smaller. Can't really use the Addi needle. And I like to go for it twice on each one of these bottoms. Just like this. Make a knot on the back, and then you're done with the bottom. And then place all the others and repeat the same process. I'm going to add all the bottoms, and then I'll come back with you just to finish the sleeves after this. Now that we have our 4 bottoms fully attached here, I'm just gonna put this away and grab our sleeve. For the sleeve, the first thing that I did was the cuff. Only because it's much easier to finish the cuff before you attach to the whole project, only because of the weight of it. It's easier just to finish the cuff first and then. So I'm going to pull this, and I'm going to only slip stitch here throughout the stitches, only to finish it. Here you can pull to grab the next stitch, and only slip stitch. I remove the waste yarn after, so pull this way, and you don't need to make very big crochet stitches here because we are going to decrease on the next row, okay? And then to finish this row here, I'm going to finish with a slip stitch in that first stitch we made, just like this, and then chain 2 to start the next row. So the next row is going to be a simple double crochet row. The only thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to be making a double crochet. So this counts as a stitch, so we have 2 now. And then I'm going to be making 2 together. For 3, 1 double crochet, and then 2 together. But because I want 32 stitches, sometimes I'm going to be making only 1 double crochet in the middle, and then the 2 together again. Once you reach the number of 32, you just stop decreasing stitches, okay? This is the way you decrease. Aim for 32, aim for 36 to 40 stitches. It has to be a multiple of 4, okay? Aim for 36 to 40 if you are making large and double XL, okay? We need a multiple of 4 because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches in every repetition of this beautiful ribbing that we are making. So I'll come back with you with on the next row, just to show you quickly. Now, because I finished here with 33 stitches counting with this one, I'm just gonna put my slip stitch in that first stitch here and start from here. And then chain 2. These 2 chains are gonna count as a stitch, and double crochet 1, 2. And then I'm just gonna front post, double crochet. Double crochet 3 again. And then front post, double crochet this way. So I'll be repeating this row, and the next row I'm going to be making in white, just like I made this one. And then I'm going to be making 5 of these rows, okay? And then I'm going to just show you how to attach the sleeve properly to the sweater. Now, after we finished with the cuff, that's how it's going to look like. And then just place the sleeve right next to the cardigan. Now, I'm using the same yarn that I was using before to seam with the mattress stitch here. This just continuing to really seam it. And then I normally start right on the beginning here. You can make this a little more tight. I'm going to go straight from this side here, from this part of the sleeve to this side here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab 2 stitches. So here is 1 stitch, as you can see it's forming a loop, and here's the next stitch. You need to grab 2 of them, otherwise they're gonna open when you finish this work, when you remove the waste yarn on the bottom. So the waste yarn is gonna be inside the work when you finish. And then through here onto the other side, you're gonna keep making the mattress stitch as you were doing before. Going through 2 rows at a time. Then here, just grab, this is where the yarn was coming out of. You're gonna go through through the same loop again, and then the next loop. And then 2 rows here. So after making this halfway here, I can already tell there's a little more stitches on this side than on this side. So all you have to do here is you go through the same number of stitches on this side, because you have to, that's the way the stitch is. But on this side here, you go through only 1 bar on the other side. Then finish here, go through the same 2 stitches here. And then this time go through 2 bars. And that way you're gonna catch up on both sides. So when you reach this part here, you're gonna have the same amount of stitches here and here. So keep doing, you can keep doing, as you can see here now, it's almost the same number. So I'm going to go through 1 bar again. I could have probably left a little more space here as well. If you're making extra large or double XL, leave a longer space and stretch the sleeves a bit so you have more space for the yarn to go through, okay? I'm not very worried about that because I'm making this for a medium size, but try to stretch the sleeve a little more if making XXL and larger sizes, so it fits through the arm as well. And then before I put this away, I'm gonna just remove the waste yarn and see where, if I missed any stitch. So you flip it over, and then you just pull this here to see which part of the yarn you have to pull. This is how it looks like. What I normally do to put this down a little, as you can see, there's a little lump. I just steam it with the steamer, and it just sits down flat, sits more flat after it's finished. And I do steam here as well, because as you can see, there's always a little lump that stays from the knitting to the crochet as well. And so I like to use the steamer for that. And then here I did get all the stitches, so I'm just gonna put this inside here. And then you can make a knot with both yarns. I'm gonna try it on for you guys to have a look on how it is, but it's, as you can see, it's very oversized, so this would definitely fit a large person as well, but it's supposed to be a medium. So just so you guys know that, what you do before you start all my projects, if you purchase the pattern, make sure you compare the measurements that I give on the little drawing with the measurements of another cardigan you have, and then just try and make the size that fits better for you, okay? Because this is very oversized, you want more feet, then you can make 1 size down. So this is the tutorial for today, guys. I hope you enjoy it. Leave me your comment. Your comments matter a lot to me. I've been receiving a lot of really nice comments, so thank you so much for that. The comments do matter for YouTube search, so make sure you leave your comment there. Let me know where you're from, Let me know if you made this project, and if you liked it, subscribe to my channel and like this video. It's all for free for you guys to do it, and it does really help my business a lot, so I'm really grateful if you can do that for me. And I see you on the very next tutorial. Bye for now.